Ladies and gentlemen, you have come to the right place. I'm going to teach you how to get those yeah sounds that you're looking for. If you don't know what I mean, I'm talking thick sounds. And I'm working on this right now. This is a quick little whip that I pulled out of my ass 3 hours ago. No, I did not do this 3 hours ago. I did this, I don't know, a week ago. It took me like 3 hours to make this. And I think it's at a good point where it's not too much going on to the point where I'm so lost in it that I forgot what I did. It's a minimal amount of things going on in this project to the point where people are going to be able to pull things from it, and you will have an idea on where you should start when you're starting to make a new tune. So I'm going to show you this, and if you hate it, you can click off the video. If you like it, then you can stay on, and I'll teach you how I did it.
This is real shit.
It's good shit, right?
I mean bad shit.
Bad shit like the shit is bad?
Shit shit.
Alright. So, if you like it, here's what I did. So, I basically found a sample. This is how I do 90% of the songs that I make, unless I want to be like extra creative and use like operator or something, just like test myself, I guess. But if I want to make a song fast, I'm going to use samples and sounds, but manipulate them so they don't even sound like what they did originally. So this is how I got this. So I split it up basically. Rather than making a separate sub, what I did is this sample had a sub in it already. Let's see what it sounded like before all of this. Okay, so I'm just gonna loop out a bar real quick. So as you can hear, it already had a sub in it. So I was like, if I want the gun to be fat, I'm just gonna have the sub follow it, and rather than spend a bunch of time laying out a sub underneath, I'm just gonna use the sub that they had with it. So this is what I did with the sub here. I put I wouldn't consider it a parallel processing chain because you're not using the same sound twice. You're dividing the sound from its higher frequencies and lower frequencies. So I'm gonna be able to just process the sub out of this sound rather than like processing the whole sound and having it be like terrible. So what I'm doing is on one of the chains, I'm using an EQ to cut out all the higher frequencies and keeping that sub in there, which sounds like this. And then to make the sub a little bit deeper, I learned this trick where you put kick tight on it, literally stock kick tight, just drag it on, gets like this. Way deeper and fatter, right? And then utility, hop on mono and DC, because you need your subs to be mono, and then erosion, just to add that like little top end to it. That is totally preference. You don't need to do that with erosion. And then on the high end, this is where you're really focusing on making it fat, obviously, because if you do the basics with the sub, it's pretty easy, and you have to do basically the same thing every single time with your sub to make it fat, because it's like a sub is a sub. It's not like it's going to sound completely different if you make it super fat. Compared to, it's really, if you have a dirty sub, that it's going to sound different than if you have a clean sub. But most of the time, it's like the sub is its own low frequency where you're not going to hear much of a difference unless it's super loud or quiet, if you know what I mean. I don't know how else to explain it. Like basses changes like with the tonality and the transients of basses and the actual sounds and frequencies and how high and low it is and whatever, what key it's in. But like the sub is also what key it's in and how high and low it is, but you don't have these other like tonalities in the sub. It's just like a low frequency that you have. So you want to make it heavy and loud, but most of the time it's the same processing over and over again for all these basses or subs. On the basses, you can be creative. You can be as creative as you want with it. So what I did is I'm going to shut these off real quick. First of all, I cut the sub out of it because now I'm using this chain as the high frequency to then process with it. So this is what it sounds like. That is just the sample with no sub in it. Then I put multipass on it. Oh man.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Well, instead of me going and rebuying Kiloheart subscription, I just decided to cancel it and then I totally forgot. Anyways, I just put a basically a distortion on multipass. So this isn't like the way to make sounds loud, but this is just what I did on this sound because it sounded a little bit different. So we're just gonna ignore multipass for now, and we're gonna move to fresh air. So fresh air, I'm pretty sure is free, almost positive that it's free. I don't know why things keep getting, but okay, so if you heard the difference, it just makes it fresh air. It gives it a little more air. It gives it more high end, and it makes it a little bit louder. So let's do it again. On. Okay, so I hope you can hear the difference. And then I'm just gonna click this button, which brings back the automation. So what I got going on here is we got drip, which kind of is like a reverb / distortion plugin. I don't really know what it's doing. I'm gonna shut this off though. See what I mean? Makes it a little bit crispier and crunchy, but also adds a little bit of distortion and depth to it. And then delay. I have delay at 10%. That kind of fills the back. That kind of fills the background out a little bit more. So with it. I mean, adds a little more bounciness to it. Alright, now I'm going to move to this, which is, and then without everything on it besides that EQ cut. So not much, right? I think my goal with it was to make, you can see how much that sub assists. So I think if you wanted to make kind of like a bouncy, I wouldn't consider this like Riddim, but a bouncy track like this, I think you need the sub following with that main bass that's going to be going on with it. So, oh, I'm not even done with this bass, sorry. So now what I did is I took two saturators, and they're two different saturators, and there's a reason I used two different ones specifically, and why I used like these specific plugins. So I got Isotope Trash 2, which you can't get anymore. There is a way to get it, but I'm not telling you the website. Anyways, we're gonna move on. I actually did get this in some bundle last year or something, but what I have on here is, let's say I'm just gonna do this from scratch right here. So let's learn how to spell and pull up trash real quick. So it's going to pop up like this. Basically what I'm doing, close, you're going to go to saturate, delicate harmonics, and then you're going to have the song play, and I normally, have the sample play and set it on a loop, and then you drag this up depending on how sharp you want it. So I'm going to show you the difference. Sorry, my camera just cut out. I'm going to show you the difference with it off and then with it on. So this is off. You can hear it's like it's getting that sub, and it's taking both these layers that I like pulled apart, and it's like jamming them together and making it distorted and loud. I'm kind of bummed that I don't have multipass going on this right now, because it definitely did something to make it louder, but it's not necessary. You don't need it. It's just a bummer that it's not working for me right now. Okay, then this is my new toy right here. Bing bop. This thing, it's $50. You don't have to buy it. I would recommend it because you're gonna use it on every single thing that you want to be loud. If you get it, basses, not. I haven't used it on drums or. I mean, technically this is the sub that I'm using it on, but I don't normally throw it on a sub. I just got it, so I haven't played with it enough yet. But for basses in this situation, you're gonna be whipping this thing on like it's, I don't know, maple syrup on pancakes. You know what I mean? So. It's literally like it just takes what it is and just brings up the volume but keeps the quality wherever it's at. Obviously, there's a point where it can't do that because it just doesn't work like that, but like it's not, obviously it's way too distorted, but it's not like disgusting. Like you could listen, kind of. Let's go ahead and shut the sub off. Like it's not unlistenable, if that makes sense. Like you so the reason that it's so crazy is detail preservation. Now I have no idea how this works, but it's the only saturator that has detail preservation. Again, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know what I'm talking about with this plugin because I don't, but I'll play with it a little bit so you guys can hear the difference, and maybe I'll sell you on it because it's crazy. So you can't hear too much of a difference with detail preservation, but it's definitely doing stuff in the background to keep that quality there. And I think it really depends on what you use it on to really be able to hear the difference. But it really works. What I'm going to do to kind of like show off the difference, and I'm just going to do this for myself too, but I'm going to pull out a normal stock Ableton saturator, which is another thing that you can use to make your sounds louder. I'm just going to put it on medium. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. The sound, so honestly, it like keeps the crunchiness a little bit, but it's not like that insane of a difference, I guess, on this sound. At least like with comparing it to regular saturator. So I think it honestly depends on the sound that you use it on, but it's a super useful tool, and I think it's once you really start getting it loud, like pushing it to the root, like sorry, obviously it's cranking it. Now let's listen to the difference when you crank it with this guy. It's different. You can crank it loud, and it keeps the clarity. And I think I'm not pushing it enough to make it like a drastic difference, and I think that's what's going on. But that's what I did on that. Let's move to that next sound. This is what we were working on. So another way to make it louder is overdrive, but overdrive is not going to keep the clarity. It's more, I wanted more tonality out of that sound. I needed something else from it, and just making it louder isn't going to give me anything else out of the sound. So I know that overdrive is going to push it a little bit more than I need, but it's going to give me extra tones from this boring little sound that's this which I'm pretty sure is me just resampling it because it says audio 2. I'm not gonna get into exactly like how I made these basses, just how I made them loud. I'm gonna make another video on like how I make sounds. Maybe I'll just make a song from scratch or something, I don't know. But okay, so we put overdrive on there, and then we got disperser, which I bought disperser, so I got it for $60. Definitely worth it. Which you can also do too if you want to absolutely annihilate your CPU. Is I'm pretty sure Bunting has a little disperser racky. Yeah, right here. So what it is, it's just a bunch of yeah, EQ3s, and then like it's pretty similar. So if you really don't want to spend $60, I'm not gonna, like, you can look through his videos and find it, but it's pretty sick. Okay, so what I did, I have disperser on there, then I cut the lows again because you don't want the subs mashing, and you can hear there's a little bit of low frequencies that disperser introduces, and I can't explain exactly what disperser does, and I definitely want to look into it because I do not understand what it's doing. But I know it's adding a little bit. It's adding more frequencies in that weren't there before, obviously. So what I'm doing is cutting it to make it clean. So that's that, and then I got OTT, make it loud and a little bit crispier. That's it. I could keep going from there and make it louder. Obviously, I can add in the saturator, make it even louder. But now you're working with another bass, and they're basically talking to each other. So which one do you want to be the loudest? And I know that this one, that's my main guy. That's the one I want to put in your face in the front. So this guy is just a support. So I don't need him being like plus 10 lufs or something like that. It just needs to accent the sound above, which it does. It does well enough. See what I mean? It kind of fills in the gaps a little bit. If you really wanted to, if you don't want to deal with two different groups, you can either group these two together and then work from sorry, you can either group these two together and work from there and use processing on the group of two if you want to process them in a similar way if they're two different sounds, or you can resample these two together if you just don't want to deal with copy and pasting like stacked sounds like this, because they're always going to be on top of each other in the way that I did it like this. And then I just have this layer, which is basically just giving it I can't think of that word, just like organization, I guess, because it's a little all over the place. As you can see, like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're way off the grid. Okay, I didn't put a delay on it, but they're way off the grid, so you can still figure it out like where they are with the drums, but you can kind of tell there's something missing in there, and just having that background of the kind of keeps that flow going a little bit. And this is what I did with it. So grain delay is another thing I use all the time that adds a lot of width to sounds, plus it just makes it a little bit deeper. It just gives it a sound that I love. So I literally throw grain delay on it and just bring the spray up a little bit. That's all I do to it. And then M phaser. Honestly, I think I was just looking at plugins and I wanted to use a new one. Let's hear what it actually did. Let me shut all these off, all this processing real quick. What I'm doing is hitting the minus button, and then if you want to bring it up, you can hit the plus. So minus, plus, minus, plus. So I'm just going to, and then 0 deactivates everything. So it's actually just shut everything off, and you can hear what it sounds like. And you can hear what it sounds like before. My camera just cut out. Pretty big difference. So let's add grain delay. And if you have headphones on, you can just hear how much wider it is. It keeps the sound, but it's almost like it takes it and just kind of like spreads it out a little bit. And then we got M phaser. I think it just, there's no real reason why I used it. I just wanted to get some new sound out of it. And then we got highs, which I'm actually really starting to like this plugin a lot, because I just randomly used it on a clap and I was like, oh, this is sick. So it's kind of like a painting plugin where If you click left or right, that's where it starts playing the sound. I'm pretty sure it's where it starts. It's either where it starts or it ends playing the sound. And then the delay from the left to right, so it makes it almost seem wider. So the more delay you have, it's like a boom 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 boom, if that makes sense. So let me show you what I mean. Let me turn this on and turn it way down, all the way up, and then bring it down so it can add that little bit of width. And then if you want it to go left, it's kind of like it's moving in a direction of left because it's playing. Okay, so yes, it's playing the one you choose last to make it feel like it's going in that direction. So if you choose left, it means it's going to go right then left. If you choose right, then it's going to go left and right, to make it seem like right or left is the most dominant direction that you're putting in, depending on what you choose. So if I go right, it's going to make it feel like that movement is going towards the right, and this going towards the left. So I just like it towards the right, because it seems like right, like you're moving forward, like I think, like you read a book, like you're kind of just going, you're reading right. I don't know, just like how my mind works, and it's just what I wanted to do. But if you guys feel like left would be better, totally up to you. Alright, then I'm cutting the lows again. Just from the phaser and the grain delay playing with each other, I'm just going to cut the lows again. Doesn't hurt. Plus, what I do with this is, on the EQ8, the stock Ableton, you can do a mono stereo split. So this is mono, and what I'm doing is just cutting it around 140, 135, and then in the stereo, I'm just kind of listening and dialing the low end and muddiness down on the stereo field, just to make it a little bit cleaner. I'm gonna go into EQing like the sides in a different video, but this is just like an example because the grain delay can be a lot. So yeah, basically what I'm doing is making it super wide with grain delay, and then adding these processes to it, and then dialing it back a little bit with the EQ8, EQing the sides of it. And then we got disperser, and then another disperser because I didn't feel like it was enough, and then OTT. That's it. And that's it. And I'm probably going to add a little bit more to it, maybe like a couple little like shots in the background, but I'm going to keep this one a little bit simple because that's the style I was going for. And I'm going to go to this section now just to maybe give you a little bit of an idea on how you can go about getting new sounds out of sounds that you had. So this part, the favorite part of the song, and this is what I did, and I still have no idea how it came out this good. Texture, I don't know, and I can't tell you why. So basically what I did is I took this, I'm pretty sure I took this, I held, I turned on warp, because you need warp on it, and then texture, and I took this and I dragged it out. I think they're two different samples though. And then I brought these up. Yeah, that's it. Crazy, right? Because now, it's like it added do-do-do-do-do, so I'm like, oh, that's sick. So with the processing I had on it, which I'm gonna delete this one and I'll drag it up here. That's all I did. Like, that's pretty easy. You can take this, paste it, oops, sorry. Turn on warp so I can stretch it out, and then holding shift, you can now see there's a little triangle. See where the triangle comes in, and then I'm gonna drag it out, and then I'm gonna put on texture. I really like texture, just because it adds it gives you a lot of options for sound design and stuff. I feel Complex Pro is good when you want to change the speed of a sound but keep it as original as possible, but when you're trying to get new sound effects, I go between tones and textures to make something really cool. And then beats is, I literally only use it when I really want to pull out the transient of a sound. See what I mean? It's like dragging out the transient only, keeping everything else. And that just depends on how you're feeling. So if I bring this up here, I get that, which is, I was like so blown away when it happened, but it was cool little moment. So what I did, I just recorded that. Now that's why this says audio. I resampled it and then put it here, and just used it as a little flow. And that's it. This is complex because it's and then this guy's just reversed. So if you hit R, and it's just dragged in or out a little bit. So just as a little fill. Super basic though, right? And then this guy, I don't know what I did. I think I might have straight. Oh wait. Let me see real quick, because this is just it's an excellent Halloween base one shot. Shout out October. I didn't do that on purpose, I swear. I'm confused. Is that like the same? Yeah, Halloween base one shot number 49. I guess I just used that as like a little fill thing right there, and I must have just like shrunk it down a little bit. Base shot 49, yeah. So it sounds a little different though. Let's see what I did. So yeah, I sped it up. So I basically took it, shrunk it down. Now it's fast. And this is just me being a little creative with a flow. It just like takes time. This is same thing. It's just chopped up. So I have textures brought it all the way down to -48. I just like doing stuff like that. What I'll do sometimes, I'll take it, stretch it way out, take like the middle of it. This is probably like pretty similar to what I did originally, and then I'll just drag it. I'll put it on texture normally, and then let's drag it way down. And then you can kind of play with it. Then if it's not like that great, maybe you can play with the amount that you have. So let's say like this. If you wanted to make some weird fill or something like that. So then you can go through so that's pretty much what I did with this. It also has a lot to do with the processing that you do on it. So let me delete these, and I'll put these guys here. Completely different than this. So yeah, keep that in mind. For fills, it has a lot to do with the processing as well. It's just like what you place down. Alright, I'm gonna go to this section. I haven't even shown you guys this. So pretty much what I'm doing is either resampling or taking the sound and stretching it and reversing it, or pulling like the middle out of it. Normally what I mean by like pulling the middle out of it is let me just take this sound, I'll put it over here. Alright, camera just cut out again, but we're good. Alright, so take the middle out of it. Let's put warp on, drag this out, and then let's put this guy like here. So I just copied that. I'm going to paste it. So we still have a little bit of a transient. And then let's go and grab this guy. Stack. And then if you want to make like some basic flow or something, say like you take this and bring it like here, and then you reverse it. And then rather this, maybe. And then, so let's say like you have this sound. All right, let's take this guy out. Let's say you have this. You don't have to be on top of each other. This is what I'll do normally, is literally just duplicate the entire group and stack them. But that means that you can't keep the low, because you can only have one low going at one time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me delete that before I fucking ruin this shit. Let's go back to shit one more time.
Shit.
So I hope that helped you guys a little bit, just to kind of, it goes to show like how simple this stuff can be. You don't have to go crazy with the processing. It's just like, I feel like if you go into one of your project files, you can probably delete half of the processing you have on it and still have the exact same song. Like sometimes, like, yeah, it looks like you're doing a lot when you have a bunch of processing on it, but you want to make sure that every single plugin that you have on your sounds is doing something, and it's for a reason. The only reason why I say like you're just using a plugin to like have fun, well, not have fun, but like to test it out, like for example this one, I know that it's going to change the sound. I don't know how, and I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I'm going to use it and figure out what the outcome will be. And then I ended up using it, liking it, and it changed the sound in a way, in like a positive way, to help the drop. So I'm going to keep it in there. But it's not like I put it on there like, okay, well I'm gonna use this and it's gonna make it sound like this, blah blah, the outcome, blah blah. It's like I put it on there because I knew it's gonna change the way the sample sounded, and that was the extent of that, and that's why I did it. So that's probably the only plugin I put on there that I didn't, that the reason was to just change the sound of it, but I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, type of deal. So like OTT, I know it's going to make it brighter and louder, and if I need to like add in a little more high end, I'm going to use OTT on it and drag this guy up a bit to make it really bright. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys liked my first tutorial pretty much on YouTube. I have a couple others with my sample pack that came out a few months back. If you want that, you can pick that up. It's for $10 right now on Gumroad. I'll leave it in the description. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed.